Good day, family. How are you today? I trust that all is well with you. Well, it's Counselor Sash here with you today once more to share a psychological tip with you, just to allow you to get into that mental framework of yours so that you can mind your mental health. All right. Today we will have the conversation about self-esteem. Yes, yes, yes. All of us have self-esteem. And with all of our self-esteem, we can either have three of the different stages of self-esteem. We can either have a low self-esteem, or a high self-esteem, or an excessively high self-esteem. All right, but we all do have self-esteem. And you might say, Counselor Sash, all right, what is self-esteem? All right, let's dig into that. What is self-esteem? Now, self-esteem is a person's overall view of themselves, their self-worth, their value, how much they appreciate or like themselves, their talents, their abilities, their high points and their low points. All right, and so I want us to look at the fact that there are some persons who struggle from a low self-esteem or overly high self-esteem, while there are others that your self-esteem is at the right place, you have a right balance, and your self-esteem is very healthy. But you may ask, what is the importance of self-esteem? Well, our self-esteem is very important because it affects our overall life, our overall well-being, mentally, emotionally, and in every other way inside of us and also outside of us. Good? Now, a person with a low self-esteem will not think too highly of themselves. All right, they will not think too highly of themselves. And the thing about having a low self-esteem, it will affect you in so many ways. Now, when the self-esteem is low, as we said, some of the symptoms that you will see is that when someone's self-esteem is low, they will believe that others are better than them. They will believe that their talents are not good enough, their abilities are not good enough. They will believe that they're not gifted, even when they're gifted. They tend to focus more on their weaknesses and on their shortcomings than on their strengths. All right, they may fear failure in so much that it makes them not even want to try, cripple their ability to want to try. Even when they're succeeding, in their minds they feel like they are not succeeding. Those persons with a low self-esteem struggle to set boundaries. Yes, they are yes men and what we call yes women. Everything somebody asks them to do, they are always saying yes, yes, yes. Even when they're overly packed with their own responsibilities and they can't go no further, simply because they don't want that person to think of them bad or talk bad of them, they say yes, even when they're struggling, even when they are flooded with their own responsibility. So they have struggle saying no. All right, now when persons even ask those persons with low self-esteem about what they think about what they may wear or how they may look to them, they will always want to give a positive compliment, even when the person may not look as they should, just because they do not want that person to say anything negative towards them or about them. People with low self-esteem always want everybody else, always want everybody else to like them. And the reality of life is, if you live your life for everybody else to like you, you're going to have a problem, because nobody's going to find that everyone likes them. As a matter of fact, the word of God says, woe to you if everybody loves you. Now, a person with low self-esteem may put other person's opinions above their own opinions. All right, and so they don't feel like their own opinion matter, or what they have to say matter. What somebody else to them say is what really matters. A person with low self-esteem focus more on their weaknesses rather than on their own strengths, and the list goes on. All right, the list goes on and on and on. So if you have identified within yourself that you struggle from a low self-esteem, all hope is not lost. All right, I'm going to share with you today some tips that you can use to strengthen your self-esteem so that you have a more robust self-esteem. So the next time you step out of your house, come on, whether you're a man or a woman, you're stepping out with a pep in your step, and you're stepping out into a life filled with a high self-esteem mentality. All right, so that is for those persons with a low self-esteem. Now, low self-esteem, as we know, is unhealthy, and there are lots of contributing factors to low self-esteem. Factors such as age. Some persons, as they grow older, they think that they're not pretty anymore, they're not handsome anymore, that they're not looking good in their body anymore as they were when they were much younger. Some persons, as they grow older, another factor that affects your self-esteem is illnesses. Persons develop all kinds of illnesses over their lifespan, or some persons were born, with life-threatening situation or different illnesses that they come across, and they might have dismemberment or disfigurement, and it causes them to have a low self-esteem. All right. Other things that causes low self-esteem is life situations that affect people. Some persons may encounter, be it male or female, being raped, being sexually molested, being scarred by verbal abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. All different abuses that we face in life can contribute to someone having a low self-esteem. Now, physical abilities too cause someone to suffer from low self-esteem. All right, some persons have a lot of high physical abilities, whether they're athletic or they're good with their hands or their minds or whatever, while some persons may not be so gifted and talented. But it doesn't mean that you have to suffer from a low self-esteem, because we realize when you compare yourself with others, always there'll be somebody to outshine you in some area of life or another. That doesn't give you any reason to harness a low self-esteem. Now, other factors that contribute to low self-esteem, it's socioeconomic factors, where you're born, where you were raised, your family status, their financial status. Those things can affect your self-esteem. Good. We spoke also about, I want us to look also at gender. Sometimes your gender depends on where you're at, can cause someone to have a low self-esteem, because in some places men are not looked up to as they should. In some places, whether the workplace or church or wherever, sometimes ladies are not given their rightful places, and your gender can cause you to have a low self-esteem. And even some families prefer to have girl children, some prefer to have boys, and when you're born in certain families and you're of a certain gender, you are treated less than, and that can contribute to your low self-esteem. Another contributing factor to low self-esteem too is genetics, your genetical makeup. For some ladies, when they look at other ladies, they say, okay, their breasts are too small, or their breast is too big, their butt is too small, or their butt is too big, or their hips, or their facial features, or physique based on our genetics. That cause many persons to think less of themselves, right? And so those are some contributing factors. There are many, as I said, emotional abuse can cause it, verbal abuse can cause it, financial abuse, social abuse, physical abuse. All the abuses on the pendulum can contribute to a low self-esteem. All right. And again, a low self-esteem can also be defined as seeing yourself less than your true worth, your true value, your true you. All right. So today, if it is that you suffer from a low self-esteem, we want to work on it. All right. I want to work on it with you, and so that we can bring you up to that place where you can have a robust self-esteem, where you do not have to feel less than you are. So you may be saying, Pastor Sash, Counselor Sash, however you want to put it, how do I improve my self-esteem? All right. There are many ways you can improve your self-esteem. Now, you have to become first aware of your negative thoughts. Yes, all of us from time to time have different kind of negative thoughts about ourselves. Some of those thoughts were injected in our minds from our parents, from our family, from our friends, from our social gatherings growing up over the years in the communities we are from, or also from the schools we attended. All of that can contribute to the spouses that you have, can contribute to your low self-esteem. And so for you to develop a robust self-esteem or a high self-esteem, you need to think about the thoughts that you're thinking. First, we want to banish those negative thoughts that says you're not pretty enough, you're not handsome enough. Those thoughts that says you're not skillful enough and you can never get anything right, No. You first will have to get rid of those distorted thoughts and replace those negative thoughts with positive, uplifting thoughts. All right. So the next time unhealthy thoughts come to your mind to put yourself down, I want you to trade it in for a positive thought that can lift you up. All right, challenge also your thinking pattern. Now, so many times our thinking pattern think less of good and more of bad. So challenge your thinking pattern. Get a hold of your thinking pattern and evaluate it. Do I think more negative, don't put in thoughts than positive, uplifting thoughts? If that's the case, begin to train your mind to every negative thought. Think of at least 3 to 5 positive thoughts that you can exchange them for where it comes on to yourself. All right. I want you also to think of positive self-talk. Yes, get in front of that mirror. I love to use the mirror analogy. All right. Get in front of that mirror and speak to yourself. Yes. You're not becoming psycho or mad to go in front of a mirror and speak to yourself. No, you're just giving yourself some self-help therapy. So get in front of your mirror. Look at that handsome face of yours. Look at that beautiful face of yours and say to yourself, man, I am beautiful, or I am handsome, I am awesome. I bet this is the best face that God has ever given anyone. Come on. But you know what we do sometimes? We take what people tell us is a signature face to compare with ourselves, and when we don't have the world standard of what is called a signature face, we begin to feel less than ourselves. Take for instance, the world tells us that you have to have a straight nose, like certain types of people, to be pretty. It's not so. God in his wisdom gave us all different kinds of shape, size, and type of nose. Got my nose, it's more rounded and fat if you will, but guess what? I love it just as it is, fully functioning. I can smell and I look really great. All right. What about flaws that you'll find in your makeup? Some person may say their face is too fat, or their face is too slim, their mouth is too fat, or their mouth is too small. No, your facial features or your body features is just the way they were supposed to be. That was how you were created. You first have to go into that mirror and learn to celebrate everything about you. Don't want your sister's hips. Don't want your sister's lips. Don't want your brother's hands or muscles or legs or thighs. No, be satisfied with what you get and make the most of it. As a matter of fact, why are you trying to look like the world? Why are you trying to be shaped or carved like the world? That's why so many persons spend so many money in plastic surgery because of low self-esteem. Why cannot the world look like you? Why can't the world look like Sashalee Edwards? Come on. For me, I don't strive to look like anything or anyone in the world. I enjoy being me, flaws and all. And as I do daily, I work on becoming better where I am concerned in my thought mind, in my personality. But when it comes down to my external feature, I just say, Lord, this is what you have given me. All right? So go before your mirror and compliment yourself, no man. Sometimes nobody will compliment you, but it's okay. You can go in front of your mirror and compliment yourself to lift up that self-esteem of yours. Now, you have to practice also what is called self-compassion or compassion towards self. If you're not compassionate towards yourself, tell me, who will? First, you have to forgive yourself, for all those negative thoughts that you have invested in yourself and lowered your self-esteem. You need to have a high self-esteem. The world needs you to have a high self-esteem. Everyone who comes in contact with you needs you to have a high self-esteem. And you of all first need to have a high self-esteem. All right? It's when we tend to measure ourselves with others that we realize that we will fall short. You were not created to measure yourself with anybody, You were created to be the best you that you can be. And so from today onward, come on, lift up your chin up. Come on, chin up, as we say. Lift up your face. Let us see that beautiful smile. Do you like mine? Let us see that handsome smile of yours and tell yourself that guess what, as from today, I am going to have a high self-esteem. All right. Now, there are those persons who have what is called overly high self-esteem or excessive self-esteem, where they are preoccupied with being perfectionist, and they focus on always being right and trying to outdo everybody else. They believe they cannot fail. They feel that they're better skilled than everybody else. That is when you know somebody have a overly high self-esteem that can be detrimental and can turn into a negative purview of life and border on pride. All right, so we don't want you to have a low self-esteem nor an overly excessive self-esteem, because you become a nuisance to persons when your self-esteem is just so overly excessive that others tend to don't want even to be around you. But when you have what is called a balanced self-esteem, not overly high nor low, but at the right place, where you understand your gifts, you understand your talents, you understand your abilities, you are okay with yourself. You feel free to step into a room, and doesn't matter how many persons are talking or how many eyes are on you, you don't care. You know you are special. You walk into that room with purpose. You walk into that room with your head held high. You walk into that room knowing that you are supposed to be there and there's nothing wrong with you. And if for some reason somebody may just think to open their mouth or look at you in wanting to look down at you, you will just walk past that person, because that person's thoughts and minds and words, you don't even care for it, because you must reach a place in your life where you realize that your thoughts about yourself is what matters most, not what other people says. Because there are those persons that the only way they can feel good about themselves is to put down somebody else's self-esteem. It's to laugh at somebody else. It's to let somebody else feel bad. And there's those persons that are always busy trying to dig up persons' past and shortcomings and weaknesses to put out there to make you feel bad. Can I tell you something? Lift up yourself. Hold your head up high. Develop a robust self-esteem that nobody in your family, no one in your friendship circle, no one in your work circle or church circle or whatever circle you are in, that you will allow their negativity to affect you. That you will remember who you are, that you were born for this time, that you're beautiful, that you're handsome, that guess what, you are born to succeed. And guess what, if you fail at attempting something today, you're not going to give up. You're going to try and you're going to try again, because you have what is called a balance or a high self-esteem. All right, having a high self-esteem doesn't mean that you're going to be on the mountaintop every day. No, because sometimes you wake up in the morning feeling down in the dumps, but it's not for you to stay there. You get up out of those moments and get back on track. So wherever you are in your life, if your self-esteem is low, don't give in, don't give up. Your self-esteem can become high. Begin today to start to work at your self-esteem. Many persons have had experienced low self-esteem, and day in, day out, they worked on their self-esteem, and today they have a balanced high self-esteem. All right, so no more low self-esteem, but begin to shine. You are beautiful, you're handsome, you're awesome, you are supposed to be here, and we love you. All right, this is Counselor Sash with another of your psychosocial tips. And let's continue the conversation. If it is that you love this presentation, then you can type into the chat on Facebook or on my YouTube channel and tell me which topic that you would like us to talk about in our next counseling series. God bless you. Thank you for tuning into my channel. And guess what? Your mental health matters most. Be good, walk good, and hey, you are made for this time.